Human initiative and creativity has inspired mankind throughout history. From the Hanging Gardens of Babel to Einstein's theory of relativity, this inspiration has followed mankind since the beginning. Though humans are creative, taking the initiative and actually inventing something doesn't come very easily, for human nature does have a small tendency to be lazy. We enjoy sitting around doing nothing, while the rest of the world goes about its busy day, filing tax papers and doing yard work. Honestly, many people would be content sitting around rather than working to change the world for the better. It is better to light a candle than to sit and curse the darkness. This proverb exhibits the light and the dark, telling us that the light is better. What is this light, one may ask? Metaphorically speaking, a light is in the act of virtue. And what is the darkness then? The darkness is the absence of virtue. This world, filled with darkness, can be changed for the better by acts of virtue. Virtue is superior. With it, one may build communities based off of light and truth, rather than from slothfulness. And these communities, after being shown this light, will grasp onto the knowledge it gives, and will hopefully hand it down from one generation to another. Two stories from history exemplify this point: the colonists of the American Revolution and Raoul Wallenberg. During the unfair acts and taxes of early America in the 1700s, colonists of America began to uprise against British Parliament. The Revolutionary War itself was a light in the darkness, and here's why. It was commonly taken that America would lose the war. How could they not? It was the British Empire, the world power at the time. However, the willpower of the colonists managed to expel the highly trained British from America. Instead of sitting and cursing all the unequal taxes being put upon them, they stood up for their rights, and by doing so, lit the way for a series of revolutions. Many of the later revolutions were devoted to the American ideals of liberty, freedom of speech, individual rights, and equality among men. By lighting their own candle, the colonists managed to spread virtuous ideals, the same ideals which are cemented into the average American mind today. My second example of how the light of virtue changed the world for the better begins in World War II. On July 9th, 1944, Raoul Wallenberg reached the city of Budapest in Hungary. The infamous Nazi Party had already taken control of the city and boasted that more than 400,000 Jews had been deported from the provinces. They were most likely taken to one of the many notorious concentration camps, whose sole purpose was to kill as many Jews as possible. However, Raoul Wallenberg also had a sole mission, and that was to be a savior to all the Jews he could. In order to do this, he created something called the Schultz Pass. This impressive document was designed to look like a Swedish passport, and although it looked official, being filled with stamps and signatures, it actually held no legal status at all. These passports convinced the Nazis that those who possessed them were actually Swedish. By using these fake passports, he saved the lives of thousands and brought hope to those who were lost in the shadows. Edith Ernster, a Jewish girl who was helped by Wallenberg, is quoted saying that these passes made us, the Jews, somehow feel like human beings again, after being reduced to mere things by all the measures and propaganda against us. In one of his most famous acts, he climbed atop a moving train, and while being shot at by German police, handed his Schultz passes from the roof of the train to the Jews inside. Then, once the train stopped, Wallenberg fooled the Nazis, not the ones who had been shooting at him, by persuading them that those who had his passports were free to go. This act of virtue and light, though it was surrounded by darkness, saved lives and brought hope to the despairing Jews around him. Raoul Wallenberg took the initiative and lit his own candle, letting his light shine for the others around him. Why wouldn't one wish to light a candle in the darkness? Why wouldn't one stand up to the horrors of the Holocaust? After the war, a German citizen gave this account. We heard stories of what was happening to the Jews, but we were trying to distance ourselves from it because what could we do to stop it? A railroad track ran behind our small church, and each Sunday morning, we could hear the whistle in the distance and the wheels coming over the tracks. He continues to tell how his church would purposefully sing louder in order to drown the cries of the Jews. His church, thinking nothing could be done, did everything in their power to blot the Jews from their minds. Their effects of refusing to light a candle, of refusing to perform virtuous acts, created a damaged world. A world where human beings are herded like cattle. A world where it is better to kill the innocent than to prosecute the wicked. A world where evil has prevailed. Lighting even a small candle helps extinguish the shadow. The American Revolution and the acts of Raoul Wallenberg illustrated that it is better to light a candle than to sit and curse the darkness. Both were a light in the dark, acting upon virtue in the midst of a world of shadows. By being virtuous, they have not only shown what good can come from great acts, but they also inspire us to light our own candle. We have to go out of our way, however, in order for this candle to be lit. We cannot simply sit down and wait for some chance that we may be a light in the dark. No, we must act upon virtue every day. It's as easy as watching what you say, as opening the doors for others, as doing what's right. Only once we have acted upon virtue can we say that we have lit a candle. Of course, this candle may not be very bright at first, but the knowledge this candle gives us is one that lights our path, guides our steps, and prepares us for the unknown. We can share our light with those around, and hopefully, those people will light a candle of their own. Thank you.
Thank you.